Germany, the country which has had the most profound influence on electronic music, from its origins right through to the present day. And in this video, we're going to look at the influence of Germany on electronic music, as well as discuss some of the artists from Germany who have pioneered electronic music. Hi guys, and welcome once again to another episode of Piano and Keyboard Artist, the channel where we discuss everything related to keyboarded musical instruments, synthesizers, pianos and artist development, with me, Vaughan George. And today it's all about Germany. Germany's influence on electronic music cannot be disputed or denied. Ever since Kraftwerk burst into the scene in the 70s with their innovative sound, their strange robotic image, it was profound and groundbreaking, and even if you didn't like it, you had to admit that this was something different. Kraftwerk gave us something that we'd never heard before. Indeed, listening to their music now, and bearing in mind with the technology we've got now, it makes it even more amazing when I look at what they had and to see what they did with what they had. Truly groundbreaking from a geeky point of view, as well as from a musical point of view. Britain as a country has spawned some of the most outstanding electronic music artists of all times. Depeche Mode, Vince Clarke, OMD, Ultravox, John Foxx, and there's a lot more. But all of them will pay homage to Kraftwerk. Andy McCluskey from OMD said when he first saw Kraftwerk as a young boy, he went, that's cool, and that's what I want to do. Phil Oakey once spoke in an interview, which was quite funny, how that epic German sound, which, you know, came from Germany at the time with the German pioneers, they were trying to emulate that in Sheffield. Ultravox paying homage to German electronic music with song names like Vienna. Depeche Mode, and especially with their Some Great Reward album, produced by Gareth Jones, who lived in Germany, Hansa Studios. Martin Gore lived in Berlin at the time, and that album had a profound effect on their career. The sound and just all the pieces coming together at that time. It was a perfect record. And Depeche Mode indeed were one of the first sort of pop acts to sort of take that underground industrial sound and kind of break it through into the commercial market. But that is another story we'll talk about in the Depeche Mode series. An interesting thing that comes to my mind now, I saw an interview with Bernard Sumner. He was talking about how he met one of the members of Kraftwerk. I don't know if it was backstage. This was around about the time Blue Monday had just come out, and of course we all know Blue Monday's got that that iconic little kick sound. As iconic as it is, it's not exactly a very fat sound, you know, in these days. But of course, when it came out at the time, it was a very fat sound. You know, they hadn't been able to synthesize something that sort of fat at that time. And when Bernie met one of the Kraftwerk members, of course, this Kraftwerk guy was very intrigued by the fatness of that kick drum, and he said, "We need to know how you did this kick drum." And Bernie said, "Oh, it's fine, you know, we've got the sample, you can just use it." And the guy from Kraftwerk went, No, we need to know the process." And that's genius, because that just sums up that sort of like German pride, efficiency. No, we will not steal it, we will make it ourselves. And yeah, full respect to Germany for, you know, for their influence on electronic music. And, you know, if Germany hadn't existed, would we have electronic music? I don't know. The German influence on electronic music cannot be understated. Neil Tennant talks about how when they changed their sound round about the time of Suburbia, that song really broke them in Germany, and Neil Tennant said it was due to the sort of big sound. And I think that does sum up the German sound. It's kind of like an epic, a big sound, you know, very precise and a very disciplined sound. That's another word which is kind of synonymous with me when I hear the word Germany, is discipline and organization and efficiency. So when the Pet Shop Boys released Suburbia, It was a song that sort of opened the doors up to them in Germany. And a lot of British artists often try to break America. I know, like Robbie Williams and, you know, even like Oasis and big artists like that weren't really able to crack America, because that America was always seen as like a big market to crack. However, I think when it comes to electronic music, Germany is the market you need to crack, because I just get to me personally, it's like if you haven't broken into Germany, you haven't really broken in as an electronic artist, because Germany to me is just like, it's kind of like the home and the origin of electronic music, and you know, that's debatable. You might agree, you might disagree with me. What I'm just saying is, although there's always this need for artists to feel they need to break America, I feel if you're an electronic artist, Germany is the country that you need to break and conquer. And indeed Depeche Mode have done that, and Depeche Mode as well were always, I feel it's only now that they're sort of getting the sort of recognition in the UK, or, you know, over the last few years, because even when I came to the UK in the I came here in 1999, I was surprised, you know, growing up in South Africa, and we were Depeche Mode was massive in South Africa, and coming to the UK here, it was so amazing. I was so like surprised to see when I talked to people about Depeche Mode, they'd be like, oh yeah. I think that's changed for Depeche Mode now, and some people even always spoke about Depeche Mode as being Britain's best kept secret, or Britain's best export, or something like that. The point I'm making is, coming back to Germany, is Depeche Mode were, I think they probably feel more at home in Germany than they do in the UK. Of course, they all live in different countries now, and indeed the members of Depeche Mode will say when they play in Germany, it's kind of like a homecoming gig. And I think very often, you know, it's with the history of Germany and Martin Gore's history of Germany, and I think they have a soft spot in their hearts for Germany, and Germany has a place in their heart for Depeche Mode. So I think if you're an electronic artist, you've got to break Germany. That's where it's at. So the German sound is very epic and precise and melodic, and it's very serious in a way. So I want to sort of just run through a few German artists and producers that come to mind now. And of course, guys, this isn't a complete or conclusive list. The list is endless, but I'm just going to run you through some names which come to mind now. Something that comes to mind at the top of my head now is Modern Talking. Now, I was never a Modern Talking fan, but they are German. It was electronic music, and they did go on to spawn and start a completely different sort of subgenre. Modern Talking, it was made up of Thomas Andrus and Dieter Bohlen. Dieter Bohlen was the sort of brains and the songwriter behind it. And I remember they were massive in South Africa, absolutely massive. I was never a fan, although some of their songs, I admit, there's a few guilty pleasures there. The songs were very, very catchy, very, very predictable, very, very formulated, but they had their style. And every song was kind of like... And then you had, it was so funny, as I explained it once. I remember I was younger and I used to hear their music and I didn't know their name, and I was asking someone once, what's that band that sing? And there's the guy with the long brown hair that sings. He sings like a man, I said. And then there's the other guy who comes in at the end who looks like the actor Nick Nolte, and he sings really high. And that sums up Modern Talking, because it was all like, Sherry, Sherry lady, going through emotion, love is where you find it, listen to your heart. And then you had the blonde guy who looked like Nick Nolte would come in, Sherry, Sherry lady, love this not tomorrow, take my heart in music, listen to your heart. Something like that, and I can't sing like that, as you can hear. But they had a formula, and it worked, and it opened a door and spawned so many sort of Modern Talking clones. I remember there was one called Bad Boys Blue, who just kind of took the Modern Talking sound and you know, ran off with it. Acts like London Boys, and yeah, loads of them. But you know, Modern Talking was very, very influential, and you know, as I say, I'm not a fan, but I have to give them their place in electronic pop history. And Dieter Bohlen has gone on to have a fantastic career, and you know, be a producer, and you know, their place in electronic pop history cannot be denied. Modern Talking, Love Them or Hate Them, were incredibly influential. Michael Cretu, a Romanian-born producer who lived in Germany. Two of his most successful ventures were the pop star Sandra, who he went on to marry. And Sandra to me was, oh, she was gorgeous. She was one of the first women, when I was a young boy, I looked at her once on the TV, and you know when you're at that age where you don't really know about anything, but I looked at her and I thought, oh, you make me feel so funny, so good. I'm feeling weird looking at this woman. She was gorgeous, and I do have a place in my heart for this kind of sincere, feel-good pop. And Sandra to me was one of my favorite sort of 80s pop stars, because it was a little bit before my time, but you know, I did remember listening to it as a young kid. And you know, Sandra as well was massive in South Africa, massive hits, Heaven Can Wait, just so many. And indeed I'll probably do a video on Sandra. But Sandra's success was really down to her husband and producer Michael Cretu, who I believe wrote the songs with her, and he produced them as well. And Michael went on to, after sort of from 1990, he started the very, very famous Enigma. And Enigma was very, very breaking, cutting edge, very sort of like gothic, you know, the monks. He got me secretly, finding one, da da da, do 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 do. These were great times. But yeah, Michael Cretu is another very, very influential German producer. Harold Faltermeyer. What a composer. Top Gun, Axelev. Do, 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 do. Check him out. Incredibly, incredibly influential. On the subject of composers, watch this.
In music, you're basically having a conversation. There's a question, there's an answer. Ooh, it's a bit of a dodgy question here.
Basically, in music, you're having a conversation. It's a question. It's an answer. Oh, it's a bit of a dodgy question. We cannot underestimate the influence of Hans Zimmer on modern German, well, not just German, but electronic modern day compositions. I mean, Hans Zimmer has revolutionized the sound of the cinema these days. I mean, ever since Hans Zimmer did The Dark Knight, I mean, every song now is going dum 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 dum. Hans Zimmer, incredibly influential. I mean, just think, ever since he did that Dark Knight, dum 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 dum, and you know, Interstellar, every movie now has got that dum 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 dum. Camouflage. A lot of my subscribers have asked me to talk about Camouflage, and I'm getting into them, guys. I want to just sort of study them and learn them more before I talk about them in detail. A lot of you have said that Camouflage is clearly influenced by Depeche Mode. And of course, everyone is influenced by someone, and it's hard to be in electronic music these days and not be influenced by Depeche Mode, Kraftwerk, and you know, all these other great pioneers. But yeah, I will talk about Camouflage a bit deeper, and you know, from what I've heard so far, I do like them. They're just up my street. Tangerine Dream, also German, incredible pioneers. The most famous one that I remember was the track from the TV series Street Talk, which was an 80s TV show about that was the 80s, you know, you had Knight Rider, you had the car, then you had to have Blue Thunder, which was the helicopter, then you had to have the other helicopter, which was Airwolf, and then you had to have the motorcycle, which was Street Talk. Beautiful melody. And that track was called Le Parc, and it became obviously the soundtrack to the famous 80s TV series Street Talk. One of my all-time favorite electronic music acts has to be Alphaville. Forever Young, I mean, oh, that can just make you cry. It's, you know, it's, what can I say, you know, one of the most beautiful, yeah. Other Alphaville classics, Sounds Like a Melody. Alphaville, oof. Big in Japan. Winter City Side. Great songs. Alphaville, another one of those acts where don't let it, if you're an electronic music snob, don't be fooled by the electronic music. Just listen to the songs and the chord progressions and the intensity and the musicality behind it. I mean, one of my all-time favorite Alphaville songs for a million years. For a million years they dream. For a million years they dream. And the falcon sails and ties and eats our souls before they open up their eyes again. How far we'll be. And it's got this beautiful melody. I mean, that's just epic. I mean, guys, this is a pop song, for God's sakes. We are definitely doing a video on Alphaville. Just make a note of that. Kraftwerk or Kraftwerk is a huge subject all on its own. And I just want to illustrate the power of their melodies, because we're so used to Kraftwerk being, you know, electronic and metronomic. But play one of their songs on the piano and you'll see what I mean. Let's take Neon Lights. I could go on, but that's enough just to illustrate to you, you know, sometimes people are snobbish towards electronic music. And as I always try to point out in these videos is, when I illustrate melody on electronic music songs, I like to play it on the piano because it strips away all the technology, and you can just hear that if that was written 800 years ago, it would have still been a timeless, beautiful melody. Right guys, and I think this is a good place to end this video. We could go into a lot more detail, we could go so in depth, and this was just me scratching the surface about, you know, how I feel Germany has influenced electronic music in such a profound way. I've also mentioned some of the various different types of artists and producers that have, you know, influenced electronic music. Of course, this list is not a conclusive list. I'd like you guys to add to this. Of course, I couldn't speak about everything, but if you guys want to sort of add to this list
And leave your comments below and let me know what you think of, the influence Germany has had on electronic music. Who are your favorite German electronic artists? Please, let me know. And also, based on the subject here, let me know what you want to elaborate on. Guys, as always, leave your comments below, subscribe if you haven't, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care of yourselves.